So, welcome to today's episode of Caribbean Bird Stories. I have with me a fellow countrywoman, Anya Elias. As many of you know, Trinidad and Tobago has been hailed as a land of steelband, calypso, limbo, parang, chutney, soca, and carnival. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before the mass, in the words of the great Peter Minshall, made an appearance on this podcast. Let me explain. Anya describes herself as being the country's youngest band leader at the age of 21 with Spice Carinval band. She is now a private section owner and designer with at Tribe Carnival. She owns and operates 3 resort boutiques as well as one of the largest clothing stores in Tobago. However, and after Anya made a post on Instagram highlighting some aspects of her journey to motherhood, 2 avid listeners of this very own podcast reached out to me and said Anya would be perfect for the podcast and I should reach out. Anya was kind enough to agree to share her story with us. Let's listen. Hi, Anya.
Hi, finally get to do this.
Finally, we get to connect.
Finally. It's been a long road for both of us.
Yes, it has.
But I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And, I'm looking forward to our chat. And with that being said, I want to go straight into that Instagram post, right? So you describe your journey to this amazing place called motherhood as a nightmare. Please share with us why you described it that way.
Well, so for me, okay, I said nightmare. I didn't literally mean the entire journey was a nightmare.
Right. Okay.
The process of actually being able to carry a baby to full term,
right,
that was a nightmare.
Yes.
Because I've had more miscarriages than you could think about. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, the journey it was hard. It was extremely emotional at the beginning.
Yes.
The first few times that it happened, I mean, I was young because I was the youngest band leader in the country at the age of 21. Not by choice, but
right,
I was kind of like just automatically put in there. So I actually, one of the things I wanted to do in my entire life on my bucket list was mommy. Okay.
Yeah.
So which I know a lot of women share as well, a lot of girls, but a lot of people for some reason they think it's embarrassing to share stories about miscarriages, and for me it was extremely embarrassing also for a long time, for years. I didn't share it with anybody. Obviously the person who my boyfriend who is daddy now.
Yes.
But I didn't share it with a lot of my friends because it just, to me, it was like a disappointment. Like God made a woman to be able to do certain things with her body, and the number one thing on that list is to be able to have a baby and make the population bigger and do those things. And so I felt at the beginning, for the first 2 or 3 times that it happened, I felt like I was not able to do what God intended me to do as a woman. And there was nobody else to take the place. You can have surrogates, you can have different things, but my body personally could not do it. And so I felt like I was a failure. But my lifestyle at the time was so hectic. I was going to China for a month to do costume stuff, pack containers. I was responsible for the entire office, for sponsorship, for everything. Okay, so I was all. So for me, I didn't have time to even feel
process
anything.
it. Yeah.
I didn't have time. The first few times it happened, like maybe the first 2 times it happened, I had time to process it. And I cried and I cried and I cried, and I did all that. And then the 3rd time, or maybe the 4th time, if I'm being correct, it happens so many times that I kind of lose track a little bit. But the first 2 times, I felt all the emotions. I was not able to leave my house. I had to stay home. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't even explain what happened to anybody. It was just so private. And I cried and cried and cried. There was actually one time Now this part is a little bit much, but I'm going to share it with you guys. It was the third time that it happened, and I had gotten to the 3 months. Right? It was like the day of my 3 months checkup. So I was going to go to the doctor, get the ultrasound, do everything, and then share the news with my family.
Yes.
So, and then when the doctor did the ultrasound, there was no heartbeat. So he had to give me whatever tablets. He put me on some tablets to be able to get the fetus out from inside of me.
Yeah.
So I literally spent the entire, maybe like about 24 hours at home, and an entire baby the size of my hand came out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like I could make out hands and toes and
really?
Head and little googly eyes and stuff like that, right? So that one hit home for me. That was my bottom. It couldn't get any worse than.
Yes.
And I didn't tell anybody besides obviously that person who's going to be daddy, right?
Yes.
So I didn't tell anybody that part. And this may sound crazy to a lot of people, but I put the people gonna think that I'm psychotic, but I put that into a box. Okay. I put it into a box, and I put the box into the fridge. And for me, I don't know why. Everybody has their own way of dealing with things. But for me, I put it in the box in the fridge just because I was not at the point yet where I was ready to let go.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if I'm like seriously crazy and I'm the only person in the world that goes through this, but I kept it there for about a week and a half until I was ready to let go.
Right.
And I took the box to the beach. With Daddy, and we both said prayers, and we just released. We said, God, I surrender, and we released. We put into the ocean. And it went away. Then I went home in the night, and I wrote a letter, which was actually a suggestion from. I went online and I Googled because I didn't want anybody to know my personal business. Like my personal people, I did not want them to know at all because I didn't want anybody to judge me or keep saying, you okay, it's okay, it happens all the time, blah, 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 blah. So I didn't share it with anybody. So I went online and, I went on all these different women's sites, and one suggested that I sit by myself and write a letter to the baby. Okay, so I sat for and you tell the baby everything. You tell basically the letter, you tell her how much I love you, how much I couldn't wait to meet you, how much we were waiting for God to bless us, all the anger, I was angry. I saw you in my hand, so I know you exist. I wrote everything in the letter. It was 5 pages of emotion from anger, sadness, to when I found out that we were pregnant, all the happiness, then all the checkup in between the 3 months, and everything was going good. And then on the exact day of the 3 months, when I was supposed to be sharing happy information, it was like a funeral. I guess that's the only way to describe it. So I wrote that letter, 5 pages long, and it suggested on, I can't remember the website. It was a mommy website.
Right.
And suggested that I put the letter outside into a bowl or a pot or whatever it was, and light it a fire and say some prayers. So that would be me letting go and releasing. Right. So I did it. And it worked. I felt better. Like I don't believe in those kind of things because at least I didn't believe in it up till then. Even when I was reading all those things that I should have been doing, I was like, why am I writing a letter to somebody or something that doesn't exist? Like, but I did it, and it worked. It helped me emotionally. But what happened after that is that it also blocked all my emotions off completely. So the next time, I think all the emotions that had to come out or would ever come out because of pregnancy or miscarriages again, I think all those emotions came out in that letter, and I just put up a big wall in front of me. that I would not feel any emotions anymore. I was incapable of feeling emotions towards miscarriages. And because of my lifestyle, it was easier for me to not feel anything because I didn't have much time at home alone.
To sit and think about it.
Yeah, I was always on the go. So even when miscarriages happened to me while I was in business meetings, and I got so accustomed to it that I would just say, excuse me, every 5 minutes, go to the washroom, clean up, change a little bit, go back into my meeting, and nobody would know the difference. Nobody, for me, there was nothing. It was just part of life. It was like having a period. That's how bad it was for me. And I felt absolutely nothing through this. Every miscarriage after that one where I really let up. And my wall went up. I did not purposely put up the wall, but I'm guessing now that God, I know now that God allowed me to put the wall up, or He puts it up for me because He has His great plans, and I am one that trusts completely in God. I have faith, blind faith, and whatever happens, good or bad in my life, I just say, okay, what are we going to do next? What next you have on your plate for me? I'm the band leader, so everybody talks to me. They want to come meet with me. They want, I have so many different things to do, and I couldn't be continuing that lifestyle and be emotional at the same time.
Yes, so, I hear you.
So I just put on my big smile and went out into public and dressed up and pretend like it never happened. And honestly, I felt like it never happened. I don't know why. I just felt like I knew it was happening over and over, but I just didn't allow myself, or God allowed me to not feel anything because He knew that I had other things to do, or He had greater plans for me. But I have had a miscarriage on Carnival Monday morning already on the road. And the people who know me know that I only wear white costumes. So I knew I was pregnant, but I didn't know it was going to happen. So I went to use the washroom or whatever during the lunch break, and I realized what was happening, because at that point in time, I know how it goes. I know when it's going to start. I know when it's going to end. I know what to look out for, right? Because I was so dealing with it. So I literally just I washed off and I put back on my white costume and I went back on the road, and I carried a bottle of water with me, a big bottle of blue waters. And I would just pretend that I'm drinking some water, or, like out in the sun, so you want to wet yourself. And I would just pour it down on me so that it would wash off everything. And I was on the road like normal because I was the band leader. I had to smile. I had to do interviews. I had to do different things. So I didn't have time to feel anything. And it was so miraculous that God did not. He cared so much that He did not allow me to feel the emotions, because He knew that if I did, I wouldn't be able to fulfill my role that I needed to fulfill at that point in time in my life. So I know He had a plan. I don't know why He chose to do that to me so many times, but it's a blessing because now I have.
Right. So we'll get there. Right. All right, Anya. That I definitely was not expecting to hear that at all. I mean, I knew you had many miscarriages, but we're filming this actually in October, which is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. So it's just fitting that we're highlighting or shining a light on this issue during this month, even though it may not be published in October, but at least we're doing our part. Yeah, to bring awareness, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who is now hearing a story like this, as incredulous as your story. And then tell me a little bit about growing up in Trinidad and Tobago and the impact of our culture on that experience of having multiple miscarriages. What was that like?
Well, okay, so we can't say Trinidad and Tobago because I am from Tobago.
Right.
I was born and grew up in Tobago, went to high school in Tobago, and then I left Tobago at 17, and I went to Roy Tech in Trinidad to do my associate's degree in business administration. And then I went to FIU in Florida
Florida.
to continue it. So
So growing up in Tobago then.
Yeah, growing up in Tobago and growing up in Trinidad is two completely different stories. Okay? I make that clear from now. Okay?
Yes.
It does not, it's not a good or a bad or anything like that. It's two different. Okay? So growing up in Tobago, it's a very close-knit tight environment. My family is a big family in Tobago, right? It's a popular family in Tobago. We come from, my grandmother had 11 kids. My aunt has 8. Thank God my mommy and daddy only has 2. We come from, it's a big lot of us.
Yes.
And that's just my dad's side of the family. My mom's side is in Trinidad. So I come from a long line of people having babies easily. Like my mom would tell me, she went to have me at the hospital and she just pushed, and then 2 hours she went back home. And I'm like, so what happened? Why don't, if y'all could do that how many ever years ago, why we can't do it now?
Yeah.
So growing up, I always actually I have a book my mom showed me the other day. When I was in primary school, they made you write out like a bucket list for your life, the most important things that you want to do or want to be in your life. And the number one thing that I had on the list was to be a good mommy. So it came from all the way back then. Yes. But we grew up very close then. So I come from a family where we are accustomed sharing everything with each other. So, but my family, I'm not trying to make it sound bad or anything like that, but we judge each other a lot. If for a better word, I don't want to make my family sound bad, but I just want to
But I think that's something that's common amongst people in general. People judge people. It's not good, but I think it's part of like human nature.
It is, but for your family, like for your mom or your aunt or your godmother or your cousin, or those type of people who's supposed to be pushing you up and raising you up, for them to be judging you and pulling you down is a difficult process. It's something that you have to learn to deal with over the years. And I mean, I am comfortable with this right now. I have total control over it. I know when to just lock off my ears completely and not listen. But it took years of doing that.
So how did you feel judged with respect to your miscarriages, though?
Well, the first few times, actually, I did not tell any of my family members anything. Not because I was embarrassed, because I thought that they would be disappointed in me because I was so young.
Right.
I thought they would be disappointed in me. That really was the reason why I did not share it with them the first few times. Especially my mother. My dad and I have a very close relationship, but those kind of topics, he kind of just pushed it aside completely. So,
yes.
But with mommy, if I had shared that information with mommy at that point in time, when I had to deal with everything else in my life and be the same Anya and the same everybody that, the same girl with the smile on her face and the bubbly personality 24 hours a day. If I had to deal with her judging me at that point in time, I don't think that I would be here today. I really don't think so, because I have a very judgmental family. I think I'm the only person who has a family like this. I really, really think so.
I don't think so, Anya, but okay. So talk to me about your actual pregnancy with your daughter. Did you experience any complications?
Well, I experienced shock completely because what we did is we went and we got tested, Daddy and I, both of us. We had a plan, and we found out that both of us are able. It's not that I'm not able to carry a baby, and it's not that he's not able to get me pregnant, obviously, because it has happened. So, but the doctor did, the fertility clinic here did all the tests possible, and both of us were fine. So at that point in time, it was like, make a decision. Do we want to have a surrogate? Do we want to go to let them do insemination for me or whatever? Right? So we decided first that we were going to try the home ovulation kits. So we did that for maybe about, I would say about 4 months. For about 4 months. And this would have been, my daughter was born in 2019 in September, so that would have been 2018, maybe July, August, September, October, during that time, right? So for about 4 months we did it, and it didn't work. It really did not work. It made absolutely no difference. And I was like looking at a test every month and seeing negative. And then at the same time, you have to be like prepared to have sex. It's not, it's like, okay, all right, let's go. Chop chop in the bedroom.
Right.
That's not a turn on at all. So it was like a job. So and then we said, okay, let's take a break. Okay, let's just take a break for a little while. Right. And my husband, we're not officially married, but my husband, okay, we've been together for 15 years. So
that's your husband.
So we went, and he only told me the story. I hope he does not see this because I will get buff. But he only told me the story afterwards. He went, so we relapsed. We stopped the ovulation kit in November. Okay. And we just, normal husband, wife, you have sex when you want to, blah, 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 normal, we didn't have to do it at a specific time during 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock and, all that stuff.
Yes.
So, but he didn't give me a conversation that he actually had with a pastor at, I think it was a pastor at the barbershop that he goes to, right? So he only told me the story afterwards. So we went out to a party, Christmas parties, because we are party people. And we are party people, and when this country opens up, I will be at every single party, and I will be the first and last person to leave. Okay, I cannot wait. So he didn't tell me this, but we went. I could pinpoint it down to the exact date and time that this happened. We went to a Christmas party at one of the most popular nightclubs in Trinidad at the time. They had a private Christmas event, and we went it. And we went home, any normal couple would do when they had alcohol in their head, and normal things. So things started, and we did what we normally do. Husband and wife had sex, we had intercourse. Nothing is wrong with that. I can share that with you very easily. Yeah. And it was normal. It was like we did all the positions. I don't want to go too graphic, but we did all the positions that we would normally do. Okay, it was different.
Nothing was out of the ordinary.
Nothing was out of the ordinary.
Right.
But he still did not tell me anything about his conversation through all of this. Okay. And then we came to Tobago for Christmas, and when we got back to Trinidad, we have 2 dogs, two tiny Maltese puppies, right? And usually they gravitate towards him all of the time. They don't come to me. They go and hug him up and spend time on the couch with him or whatever. So I went on the bed, and the 2 of them jumped on top of me, and they started sniffing like all around my stomach. And I was like, what's going on? Am I smelling bad? Like I have food or something somewhere in my stomach that you're trying to eat. What's going on? Because it was abnormal. So my husband sat up there, and he's like, what's going on with those dogs? Because, that's not normal. They don't gravitate towards you. They gravitate towards me. So, and he went outside in the living room. Dogs were still on top of my tummy. And then something just told me, you know what, Anya? Just take a test. Okay? Just take it. Just in case. I had my period and everything. So I was not expecting it. It wasn't even an option for me in my head because everything went as normal, my period on schedule before that, right? It was, and so I went and I took the test, and the 2 lines came up. So I ran outside to him. At that point in time, I knew for sure, I don't know why or how I knew for sure that this was it, that this was the time, but I felt all the emotions immediately, like all the emotions, not the bad emotions that God allowed me
but any feeling.
Yes, I had like full happy joy. I don't even know how to describe it to you because it was so different than the feelings all the other times of the miscarriages. So it was so hard it wasn't hard. And I don't know how it was so easy for me to feel all those positive, happy emotions, because usually if I see that, I expect a miscarriage after that, right? So
Right.
my wall would be up. But for some reason, God didn't put that wall up at this one for this one. So I ran outside and I showed him the test. He did not let his wall down.
Right.
So his wall was still up. So
Yes.
he said, okay, all right, so let's see how it goes. We go to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. Normal things, because we know how to expect it, when to expect
Right.
the miscarriages to happen. So his wall was still up. And I was there being totally happy. And he was like, you know what, you need to come out of that space right now, because if anything happens, you are going to go crazy. And we don't want anything to happen to you because I'm epileptic. Okay.
Right.
But I was still happy. Like I felt God talking to me, telling me, this is it. This is your present, Anya. This is your gift from me.
Right.
I was saving this one for you. And she chose you to be her mommy. Like I could hear it in my head. I could hear
And
it.
so did you have any complications during this pregnancy though?
Absolutely none. Coming down to the 3 months, the first 3 months where they say you're supposed to be nauseous and blah, 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 I felt nothing. I was perfectly fine. The doctor put me on bed rest only because of the miscarriages. But I had no symptoms, no nothing. Like I was perfectly fine. I could have done life as normal. But it's because of the doctor. I said, follow the rules, blah, blah, blah. But in my head, I already knew that this was going to work. This was going to be the one. So the 3 months passed, and we told everybody. And, everybody was happy, that. Because they don't know about all the miscarriages that happened before. So I bought a Doppler. Actually, one of my good friends, Ashley Barker and Trizende, she gave me the gift of a Doppler where you could hear the babies listen to the heartbeat, right?
Right.
And so we had the home Doppler, so we would do it because we are paranoid. We would do it like maybe 4 times a day.
Wow.
So, and during the first, I think it was the 4th month of my pregnancy, the third month, after the 3rd month, I went to New York to shop for carnival materials for the following year, right? And when we came back home, my husband was showering, and I was just right outside the shower, having a conversation with him, and I had a seizure, a small one, right? But he knows what to do when I have a seizure, right? So he just jumped out of the shower, he put me on my side. It lasted maybe about a minute. So he took me there onto the bed, and I was like, what's going on with the baby? I need to hear the heartbeat. No. And he put it on. At first, we didn't hear a heartbeat, and I was like shaking because I was shaken, but I wasn't shaken because I thought I was having a miscarriage. I was shaken because I just needed to hear it. Right? So I was still in the zone of, this is mine, God, this is God's gift to me, nothing is going to happen. But I need to hear the bub, I need to hear it. So we did all that. We heard it after a while. It was fine. And then I went back to the gym as normal. I worked out. One of my good friends is a personal trainer. And it worked out up until 7 months, 7.5 months. I worked out every day for 5 days a week. Not with heavy weights, obviously, but I was working out as normal. I had no complications. The only thing is, because I love pita pit salads. I eat a pita pit salad every single day for 3 years in a row, and I'm very happy with that. Wow. But for some reason, I just could not even walk into pita pit. I could not even smell it at all. So that was the only thing I had. And then 2 weeks before I got to the Philippines, I started to get a really, really bad heartburn. Like, it was horrible. So I went to the doctor. It was a Tuesday. Dr. Samantha Bagan. She is, for anybody who wants to know, she's the best. Okay? Go to Samantha Bagan. So I went to her on a Tuesday and I said, listen, doc, this is not cutting us anymore. This baby needs to come out, and it's coming out this weekend. So
wow.
I was like, I know she's ready to come out, and I'm ready for her to come out too. So let's get this done.
Right.
She's like, Anya, I don't usually deliver babies on a weekend. She's like, but I've been with you through all of this, and I will make the exception for you. It is not, I will do it for you. So we made a plan. She said, go check into St. Clair. I had the baby at St. Clair Medical. So she checked me in at midnight on a Friday night, on that same Friday night. So I went to her on the Tuesday. The Friday, she checked me in at midnight, and they gave me, started to induce labor.
Labor.
I want a natural birth.
Okay. So you were about 38 weeks at this point in time?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So, but she made sure that everything was good with my daughter before she gave me the okay.
Of course,
right?
Yes.
But
yes.
I didn't care if she said it was okay or not. I was just like, the child is coming out, she's ready, and I'm fed up of my chest burning me. Okay, so this thing happened like now.
Right. So and how was the actual labor and delivery? Was that traumatic?
That was a nightmare. that was a nightmare part because I was planning this whole natural birth. I had one of those doulas come home and give us these private classes, and I did the whole works about I got every possible, these bouncy balls that you're supposed to bounce around in the room on every position that could possibly make you more comfortable. I was versed. I was ready to go and push and push and just get it done and over with. So I was induced on the Friday night at midnight. Nothing happened at all, actually, until like maybe about 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. I like a little bit of, I felt a little thing, but nothing to talk about. Like my entire family, as I told you, very close family, very big family, 20 people in a room around my bed.
Oh, Lois.
Okay, at 5 o'clock, the doctor came. Actually, every half an hour she came, and she literally pushed her entire hand up inside of me. I will never forget how much that hurt. She put her hand, she put her hand far enough so she could feel the baby, right? And feel exactly where she was and her position and everything. And so she would come every half an hour and do that. And I would be cussing her to the top of my lungs. Like, she's like, eventually she just said, Anya, okay, I have to do it, otherwise you're not getting your child, okay? So just shut up.
That's right.
So she kept doing that, right? So, but about 6:30, she did the fine. She came and she did it, and she realized that the reason why I was having the contractions were worse at that point in time. But the baby, Skylar is her name. Skylar is my daughter's name. She was trying to come, but she couldn't come down. And then is when Dr. Wagon put her hand inside, she realized that Skylar's head was pressing against my pelvic bone. So, and the cord was wrapped around her neck. So she wasn't able to do anything. She wasn't able to move. So at that point in time, she said, you know what we need to do is either we start to try to turn her and you start to push, which will be a longer process. And it will be more painful for me, or you do emergency C-section. So at that point in time, I was like, you know what, doc? At first, I asked for the epidural because I said, you know what, I want to go down this road. Let me go down this road. I want to do my whole natural thing. I want my story to tell everybody. I want it. And my mother, my aunts, all the females in my family was in the room at the same time, begging me not to have this epidural, okay? Not to take it. So in the back of my head, I'm hearing my husband saying, oh my God, just give it to her so she feels comfortable. And then you're hearing my mom and my aunts on the next side saying, oh my God, no, you're going to get paralyzed. So, and then the doctor came into the room to actually give it to me. And he was like, okay, so who's having the baby in here? And obviously he was like, you're having a baby in here? Okay, so everybody else, get outside.
Get out, yes.
Like, no. Tried to end baby for a little while. She really did try, but it was impossible.
Okay. So you ended up doing the emergency C-section.
And so I told the doctor, I said, Dr. Bagan, before she started, I said, Doc, remember you went through all this with me before. You know I'm involved in carnival. So you make this cut as low down and as small as possible, okay? And she's like, Anya, that's really what you're thinking about right now? I was like, yes, I'm giving you instructions. No more than 2 inches.
Oh my God.
Low down as possible, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to sue you. And I had everybody cracking up in there. But long story short, my husband was there with me, trying to keep me. I think they have to keep me awake for whatever reason. They have to keep me awake. So he was there talking bullshit talking crap in my head. And I was like, I could smell smoke when it was happening because he was actually hearing them like a saw.
Yes, cutting. Yeah.
Yeah, but they put up the screen, so I couldn't
Yeah.
see it. I wasn't feeling it, but I was smelling it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, so he's there trying to talk to me and trying to bring up all these random stupid conversations. And I'm like, could you please shut up and tell me when this child is when you're gonna actually start this process and get this child out? And all this time he could see them pulling and tugging and pulling out the organs and whatever, right?
Right.
So and then I was like, I just shouted at everybody. I was like, okay, when the hell are y'all going to start doing this? Okay. And as soon as they did that, I heard the child cry. And I was like, okay, they're done.
That was it.
Something going on.
And that means your spinal worked very well.
Yeah. They were like, it's done. And they put her on my chest and she immediately grabbed onto her dad's finger. And I was just like that? Like, how does that happen just like that? Like, I didn't feel anything. But my husband was like, he was freaked out, but he couldn't show it. She was healthy baby. Nothing went wrong with her. It was, the only thing is, and I told the doctors before I went into the room to have the C-section, before I went, and I told them, I said, you guys, I am epileptic and stress brings on the seizures.
Yeah.
So you'll need to be on the lookout. Okay. Right. So said, so done. So
you had a seizure?
Yes, right. After they took her, well, they carried us back upstairs in Sinclair.
Okay.
And for it to latch on and get the
colostrum,
right? Right. So they tried to get her to latch on. As soon as she latched on, she got it maybe for like about, I really can't remember because my seizures like make my memory.
You lose memory.
But she latched on maybe for a couple minutes. I didn't even get to hug her up. I didn't see her face properly. I didn't see anything. I can't remember any of those details. And then I had a seizure, and my husband reached over, grabbed the baby, and gave her to my dad, I think it was. And then they dealt with me on the side, and that was it. I can't remember anything after that. That's how the story went.
Wow. But I'm just so happy. And I know the audience listening is also thrilled that you were able to have a healthy baby girl.
And it is possible to everybody. And I want all females. I wish I could tell this story like to a bigger audience, because it wasn't something I was willing to share. Even when I told my husband I'm going to do it, he was like, you don't know, those are not things that you share with people. That's private things. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be private, because what my story could help somebody else with their emotions.
Exactly.
Like how I learned to write the letter and doing it, and emotion goes away, that could help somebody else. So it doesn't need to be private. It's not going to be ashamed of. It's just something that happens, and it happens because, well, in my opinion, because God has your life planned out, and He knows when He wants to do what and why He wants to do it at that point in time. So, for me, it wasn't embarrassing for me to share the story or to put up the post or to give. I mean, I wouldn't share the amount of miscarriages because it was a lot, but I will share any story, and I could share it with any female, any group of people that are willing to listen. I could share the story with them. I just really wish that women would talk to each other more about things like this, because it helps. It really does help. And my story, I got messages after my post, lots and lots and lots of messages about people saying, nobody has ever told these graphic stories before, these details and whatever, and they're so proud, or different words people would use to describe it. They're so happy to be able to hear those kind of stories, the actual truth, and not just the version of
flowery one.
For family members who go through this with their daughters or their wives or whoever it is, I would just say, let's stay away, stay close, but give
them their space. I like that.
If they reach to you, you be there so that you can catch them if they fall. But if they don't reach you, then just be there when they come out of it.
Yes, I like that.
So Skylar Grace is her name.
Beautiful name.
She just turned 2 years old. Perfectly healthy. Nothing is wrong with her.
So tell me, is it a soca song that you're going to choose for your song to best describe your journey, or is it going to be another song? Have you thought about it? Okay. Tell me.
Completely. Two of my favorite artists of all time, Celine Dion and Andre Bocelli.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a collaboration.
Right.
It was a Celine Dion song called My Prayer. And they did it called My Prayer, A Mother's Prayer was the version of it that they did. So that's my number one song in the entire world.
And you think it represents your journey?
That song represents me and how I feel about my Skylar. Because I really think that the other miscarriages before, it wasn't for me. God just said, you know what, that's not what I want for you right now. I'm keeping your angel. I'm keeping her safe for you, and I will give her to you when I think that you're ready to handle her. Okay. So I waited and I got it. Even being epileptic, people were very worried. For the first 3 months of my life, I was not able to hold her. Nobody allowed me to hold my baby. I was not able to breastfeed because of the medication that I'm on for the rest of my life. I never breastfed. I was not allowed to be left alone with her for the first 6 months of her life.
Right.
So I lost a lot of important time with her, but she was there. I was okay. She was there. One is like a really hands-on daddy. He's like amazing with her. He has no problem doing anything. He will do anything for that child, and he'll do anything for me. He was had to be bathing hard, everything, and he didn't care. So he's a very good dad. So I'm blessed in that fact, and I'm blessed with my family, my mom, my dad. It is amazing because they are like the eyeball. She is the only granddaughter, and she is like everybody's eyeball. So I my brother, do not have a child, do not have a child, because then they're gonna have to share their attention. So all females out there, nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. And if you want to get any more graphic details that we can't say on this blog, feel free to reach out. And I will send any information.
I will put all your information. Well, not all your information, but I'll put whatever information you care to share in our show notes down below, so listeners can listen. They can reach out to you. And it was such a pleasure having you on. And I really hope our audience is able to garner some gems from what you had to share with us. And I really appreciate you taking your time. And I know it was challenging us connecting, but I'm so happy that we made this connection at last.
It was my pleasure. It was my absolute pleasure. And I was hesitant at first before I even put up the post, but I was so excited when you messaged me. I felt like people appreciated it and people related to it, and that alone by itself was enough for me. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to hopefully help other women and other girls who may be going through the same thing or worse or not as bad or whatever. Just help them feel a little less pressure on themselves. That alone made this entire thing worth it for me. And as I said, I totally enjoyed it. I was a bit not embarrassed. I was a bit scared at first because I tend to talk a lot, as you know. So I was a bit scared at first as to how detailed I was going to get. So I was like keeping back some information. But then it ended up telling you everything. Even if you're going to end it, you're going to edit it.
We'll edit some, but we'll leave the best part.
It was my pleasure. I am so happy to do it. And if I could have helped 2 people, 10 people, 20 people to just feel a little less stressed out by it and a little less embarrassed by the entire process, then I'm happy.
Your job is done. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So I'll see you.
Adios.
Bye-bye. Okay, bye.